Let's now look at how I can combine these different animations. So here I am, and I'm talking to you and explaining something on this lesson. And as I go through here, at some point, I look down at my computer. So when I look down at the computer, I'm looking at my screen, and it's time to transition over to the screen. So I have my screen in the background, I have my video up here. So what I'll do is I'll click on that clip where I want to add the animation, do Shift A, and it's later, right? This is after the animation. What do I want it to look like? Well, I want it to be cropped, so I'll hold down the Alt key. I'll crop this down to just my head and shoulders. But that's still a little big. So I also want to change how large it is. So let me change the scale down to about 2/3 of where it is. So there we go. And then I'll change the position up here. So I'm going along and I'm explaining this and I'm talking, and it looks like I'm looking at the screen a lot. So maybe at this point, I just say, you know what, it's not important that I'm looking right at you. So maybe I'll add another animation just to fade myself out. So I'll take this opacity, I'll bring it all the way down to 0. So I'm just in the middle of talking to you and you don't need to see me anymore. So I'll just fade away, and then you can watch different things that are happening on the screen. And then later, I want to fade back in. So maybe at this point, wherever this point is, I want to come back in. So I'll do a Shift A, and I'll add an animation. And now at this point, I want to be completely back in. And I say, well, you know what, maybe not at that point. Maybe it's actually a little later where I want to come in. Oh, there I go. I was looking at the screen right there. So I'll come back a little bit. Where was I looking at the screen? Right there. Talking to you there. So actually, that was pretty close. So I'll move it to right there. So now, if I look before this, it plays. I'm looking down, and then I turn to look at you, and I address you, answer what I need to. Right? So you can see here that I did some different things. I'm here at full screen, and then I go down to here, and then I go completely transparent, and then I come back, and then maybe at the end, maybe somewhere like here at the end, I'm just talking to you directly. I'm not looking at anything on the screen. So I'll add another animation, and I'll say, you know what, just go back to where I was full screen. Now, I can make all those changes here and here, but remember the easy way to do that is to bring my playhead over here, right-click, and let me copy these properties, and then come back over here with my playhead, right-click, and let me paste these properties. So now before this animation, it's smaller. I hit play, and it goes back to large size, and I talk, and I address you without needing to see anything on the screen. So this is a way that we can combine these. Now another thing that we can do here is I'm spending a lot of time in the upper left. So when I switch over to the screen, I probably want to add an animation that lets me go to the upper left. So again, I'll just click the clip I want, Shift A, and I want to zoom into that portion. So I'll bump my scale up to 125. That seems to be a good one. That's my recommendation. And then I'll make sure that it's just the upper left. There we go. I have the yellow snap lines in the upper left. And I'll stay there. And, you know, if I wanted to, I could even, you know, rotate it a little bit. I could say, oh, let's, you know, rotate it 10 degrees and just to mess around a little bit, right? So there we go. I moved it to rotate it 10 degrees. So this is just one animation that beforehand it's at 100%. And then what I do is I go in and zoom. Maybe I want to make it a little bit longer. And so I'll play it, and it goes in and it spins a little bit, and I fade out. So this is a way for you to add multiple animations. So not only can I apply this to my screen or my camera, but I can also apply it to annotations. So if you remember, I had a yellow highlight, and I was highlighting different items at the beginning when I was talking about the Camtasia requirements. And I said, well, here's one item. And I made this nice long highlight. And then a little bit later, I added an animation, and then what I did was I grabbed the top of this and I dragged it down to here. And then I went a little further and talked about it, and then at this point I would add another animation, and I would grab this top part and drag it down to here, and it looked like it was kind of flipping as it went down. So now when you play this, when I look at these, I can go back here, I can play this, the highlight comes in, it slips down, shows video tutorials, then it flips down again and goes to the Getting Started project. And so you can add these animations to annotations, video, or your screen capture.